I'm stupid. That's the problem. Yeah,
We're
I'm
back
stupid.
again.
We're back again.
We're here.
So I recorded the first 5 minutes and forgot to use my microphone. So I'm officially stupid. I'm going to, if I have any power or authority at all, it is to deem myself stupid, and I shall do such. So, yeah, we were just talking about what we're excited about this coming weekend, and what we're excited about is the Long Island Pen Show. So myself, Tom, some of my buddies are going to be there, and we're really excited. My friends actually are also very excited because they know of the podcast, they know of you, and they're looking forward to meeting you, Tom. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's always cool when you are able to introduce good friends with other good friends. It's always exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Nice.
You're going to make me proud. I know it. So, you know, what we were talking about also was how the universe is so expansive and awesome, right? And how the galaxy is just amazing, but not just any galaxy. The Galaxy Izumo from Platinum is back in stock, dude.
It's back.
These absolutely gorgeous pens has thousands of hand-laid pieces of rodin all over the pen's ebonite body. What that means is they don't just take a pen and dunk it into a bowl of sprinkles of rodin.
Like Baskin Robbins.
Right, they don't just, that's funny, Baskin Robbins, yeah. I wish I thought of that.
Yeah.
I wish, yeah. They don't just take sprinkles and then drop it on it like sprinkles at Baskin Robbins. See, you stole my line from the first take. Now it doesn't sound natural. Now I sound stupid. Going back to the fact that I am stupid, so it all works out. Anyway, this gorgeous pen is then covered with 7 layers of urushi lacquer to protect the gorgeous rodin and the whole pen. You should get one before they are out of stock, as they're only made on a very limited run. So it seems that Platinum, they like to take on the business model of Nintendo. Well, they'll make something cool that people want, but don't make a lot of them. So everybody suffers from FOMO, fear of missing out, and are forced to buy it. So if you are going to buy it, which I think you should because it's an awesome writer, gorgeous pen, please check out the affiliate link in the description below to my good friends over at Gold Spot Pens. The affiliate link helps me out every time you make a purchase, so make all your purchases. And don't forget to use coupon code ROY at checkout for an additional savings on many of the products on the Gold Spot website. There are some exclusions that do apply, but for the most part, you can save yourself extra money, an extra 10% on everything. That's across the board, even if there's already specials on it and stuff like that, except for the brands that are, you know, too cool to be part of this whole thing, which there are a few, a little snobby, but that's okay. And last but not least, let's talk about my good friend Neil and his coffee company, brlcoffeeco.com. As I was saying before, everybody that I put on to brlcoffeeco.com coffee loves it. People are coming into my office with mugs just to fill their mug and taste the deliciousness. And I have several flavors in the office, and sometimes I don't even know what flavor is brewing, but they're all just so delicious. But I distinctly know that Kiss of Life is my favorite, and when I taste that one, I know it's Kiss of Life because it's a blonde roast, has the highest caffeine content, and it's very smooth and doesn't give you the crackhead jitters, which I think is really important when it comes to caffeinated beverages. Right?
It takes a dead, sad Roy and makes it living.
Yes.
Kiss of Life.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be dead and sad. Be living.
Be living.
Kiss of Life coffee. That's a good,
and happy.
That's a good line. Yeah.
Caffeinated.
Yeah. So
not with the jittery Monster Energy drink like you had last week.
So you actually watched the episode with Dr. Sarah Getch?
I listened to it. I took it in audio through my ears. I didn't watch. I watched like little bit part of it because I just wanted to see like how she was reacting to you, like talking about your fear of bears and things like that. So
right.
You know, I just but like I listened to it, so it was a good listen.
Good. You know what else is going to be a good listen? This episode number 138 of the Pentertainment Podcast. Thanks for joining us. And once again, I want to give you guys a quick disclaimer. This podcast is not scripted, and therefore will contain potty mouth words, both from Tom and I, mostly from me. So be forewarned, you have been warned. Now, on to the podcast.
The PenBoyRoy Entertainment Podcast. Stay savage.
Do you remember when you were in school, before we were learning to use pens? Or was that how it was for you growing up? Like, you didn't get to use pens up until like 3rd or 4th grade? Before that, you always had to use pencil?
Oh, they didn't trust you. No one, I mean, I wouldn't trust let's say a 5, 6-year-old with a pen that has ink in it.
Why?
No, because they have hardly a bearing on actually going to the bathroom and not making a mess. Like, and you're going to trust them with a pen that's fully loaded with ink.
Yeah, but it's not like pens like explode onto regular, right? Like,
not that they explode, but they then decide to be very creative with said pen and decide then to, let's say, write on the desk or write on a wall. You know, that's why they make these color wonder things for Crayola, where it only reacts to the paper, and if you try scribbling the marker on anything else, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that they made that. They made a child product child-proof. Great.
Yes.
The reason I bring that up is because I remember when I was in, I think, 1st grade maybe, or 2nd grade, I would have one pencil, and I would try to utilize that one pencil for as long as possible until it becomes like a little stem of a pencil.
A little nub.
Right. So what I decided was, ever since my recent move at work and stuff like that, I feel like I'm not going to be able, or it's not practical to rock like $800 pens. So I went real down in the costs area so that I can use fountain pens at work. And that same mindset where I want to take one pen and see how long I can use it. Not just any pen, but a disposable pen. And see how long I can utilize it. So that it gets to the equivalent of a nub of a pencil. And the pen that I chose is just a cheapy old Platinum Preppy. And I decided to use this one because it looks very office supply store bought, right? It looks very standard. No one's going to notice it. No one's going to be like, oh, what is that? Are you writing with like one of those old feathers and stuff? You know what I mean?
So if I'm understanding this correctly, is the reason why you're going down to the low end of the spectrum in terms of the bouginess of your pen is because you don't want to attract attention to these new coworkers that don't know your fetish about fountain pens?
Yeah, they don't know me enough. They don't know that I'm a weirdo enough for me to start rocking pens like this. You know what I mean? And I guess I don't really have the time to explain everything. You know what I mean? Word gets around. They know I have a YouTube channel. They know I have a podcast. Sometimes they'll bring it up to me before I didn't even think of it. It's fine. But I kind of want to just be on the low key side. I've given away pens already because they brought it up to me and stuff. Anybody that asks me for a pen at work, I'll give it to them. You know what I mean?
No, but see, the thing is, though, they may not believe then that you're actually legit in what you do when you say you have a YouTube channel and a podcast about fountain pens if you're coming to work and all they see you with is a preppy wah. They would be kind of expecting something a little bit more exotic, I think.
This is not a preppy wah. It's just a regular preppy.
Oh, I thought it was...
Like no.
It does. I thought it had a design on the barrel.
Oh, no. It's the printing. The preppy wahs have sold out. I haven't been able to get one. I waited too long, like I said, for people not to...
I don't think the second edition of the wahs have actually hit the at least at the Gold Spot warehouse.
Oh, you have preppy wahs?
We're supposed to.
Oh, good.
I know we have. I know that Gold Spot has like the last year's version. Some of them, some designs are still available. So.
Well, why don't you just go ahead and send a fine point green one over to me?
Yeah, there's the one that looks like Minecraft. I could send you that one.
I like that one. It actually, I don't like to equate it to Minecraft. I like to equate it to like the background of a Super Mario Brothers 1988 video game.
Okay.
It's like pixelated and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to see how long this takes me, see how far this takes me. I want to also do an experiment with my stupid brain. I want to see that, knowing that they are so inexpensive and they're disposable, will I lose this?
Well, you've lost one platinum pen already this year.
Oh gosh, you got to bring up the hurt, huh?
Yes.
Bringing up the hurt. Yeah, the Platinum Curados, and we so thoroughly made fun of that pen, and then I ended up loving it, and then losing it. But what is it that they say? It's better to have loved a fountain pen and lost it than to never have had a fountain pen at all.
That should be a shirt.
That should be a shirt. We should get.
Speaking of shirts,
there
will be shirts at the Long Island Pen Show this weekend.
Yes.
We're gonna make it rain freaking shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it's not called the Long Island Pen Show anymore. It's called the New York Metropolitan Pen Show. Did you know that?
That's too much of a mouthful. They can join Narwhal in their silly name-changing antics. I'm still calling it what I call it. It's the Long Island Pen Show, and it's Narwhal. It's not the Metropolis. What the fuck is it called?
The New York Metropolitan Pen Show, October 14th to the 16th. Over 75 vendors buy and sell pens repaired and adjusted, free appraisals.
What does metropolitan mean?
It means the whole New York metropolitan area, like all inclusive, even like Connecticut and Pennsylvania and upstate New York and New Jersey, which is where I'm coming from.
Why do you think that they changed the name?
I don't know.
Why do you think they change names when they change names? Were they sitting there thinking,
well, I mean, like, look at it this way. If you said Long Island Pen Show, you'd be like, oh, well, I'm not in Long Island. I'm not going to go. But if you say it's a New York Metropolitan Show, you're like, oh, this is more to do. I must go to this show if I'm anywhere in this vicinity.
You think they were sitting there thinking, how can we improve this show?
Yes.
Not
well, obviously they didn't do anything about their website because it just basically has very bare bones information.
Yeah.
$10 admission per day. You get free parking. There's a great food court. There's 2 pictures of pens on here, and it says over 75 vendors featuring Fountain Pen Hospital, Kenro Industries, Federalist Pens, Mike's Pens, Toys from the Attic, Girologio, and many more. And that's it.
I think they could have saved the name changing and then fixed the website.
Yes.
To add information such as what time does it start? Does it show what time it starts?
I believe it's supposed to start at 10, just from what I've heard. But it does not say, does not have a schedule on here. There's no schedule.
What time should I show up? If
I
get there
would
at
show
8
up
o'clock,
anywhere between between 6 and 7:30 in the morning, obviously. So, no, I would probably go between 10 and 11. That's what I'm kind of aiming for. So,
yeah, I'm going to be there around 10. We'll touch base. And then afterwards, I'm thinking about taking my buddies to an unlimited Korean barbecue spot. Does that sound
Korean
like something?
barbecue?
Yeah, so does that sound something like you're down for after?
I would do it.
Yeah, because we're only going to be there for a couple of hours. Like, it's a small show. There's only so much you can do. Like, you can only run the tables.
There's only so many shirts that we could give out.
Right. I will be wearing a shirt. You will be wearing a shirt, and my buddies will be wearing a shirt. How about that?
Are we all doing that? We all doing the PenBoyRoy shirts?
We're all doing the PenBoyRoy shirts, and then whatever we can't give away, we'll just dump on the Kenro table and have them just throw them at people. Buy a pen, get a free shirt, or just get a free shirt.
Or just ask them nicely and just get a free shirt.
Can you just take this? Hope they run out of toilet paper. Here you go. Here's some wipes.
Here's your complimentary PenBoyRoy Pentertainment t-shirt to wipe your ass with.
Right. So everybody showing up, you've had your opportunity to buy them. You can no longer give us money for them. You can just take them.
And then if we have anything left over, we could just give them to the homeless on the way back. We could just sprinkle it here and there. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to be like, what am I going to do with this? And throw it out. So what do you suggest? Are you going to have a wad of cash you're bringing with you? Or are you planning to spend money at all?
It's hard for me to spend money on pens, believe it or not, because I am exposed to it continually. And I have so many, it's not very tempting to me because of the fact that I have such an expansive access of pens at all given times. So, but that being said, I know at pen shows you're going to find some rare pieces that normally aren't in your everyday collections that are made currently.
So you are very exposed to pens, all kinds of retail brands, name brands, manufacturers, and stuff like that. If you went to the Long Island Pen Show, what would prompt you to spend $300 on a pen?
It would probably be like a vintage, I would probably say. Like there would have to be a really sexy looking pen that, you know, is no longer in production, maybe for 10, 20 years, that had something interesting on it as far as a nib was concerned. Like, let's say Pelican 400N with like a semi-flexible nib might, or, you know, raise the antenna.
So is that something that has been on your mind for some time, and that's why you brought it up?
Yeah, it's something that comes up pretty quickly when I think of like, oh, well, if I'm looking around for something, you know, what would I be eyeing at? And it would be something like that.
Okay, so you actually have something in mind that you're willing to buy if you see it at the Long Island Pen Show.
Yeah, and then also I really like pen shows for all of the various like tchotchkes and knickknacks that you could possibly find there. So if there's ads of like Parker Vax, or I don't know, like display items that were previously used at a store, and then they're selling, you know, just like little odds and ends there that just, you know, I could use in Instagram pictures or on TikTok videos or whatever, you know, just to kind of fill out the landscape. So
that's interesting, because I actually think the same way. Actually, not with the ad thing, because the only like vintage like marketing material that I have is some Conklin stuff that my dear friend, God bless her soul, Lady VG, sent before she passed. She sent it to me, a gift to me and my wife, and the gift to me was some Conklin stuff, and it was vintage marketing material, and I thought that was really cool. So I have that in like a display case in my living room with some seashell boxes she had sent me, and
cool.
It is kind of cool. It's like a real piece of history. That's the only vintage marketing material stuff I actually own. Maybe I'll pick up some more now that you mention it, just for like TikTok and Instagrams. But what is also interesting is what drives you to spend money isn't just interest in pens. It's also so that you can use it for Instagram and social media purposes.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Well, I mean, it'll look great on my desk any other point. You know, it's just like anything else I have in my little deskscape that I have. It looks, I like it there. But then I'll buy, let's say, a piece and think, oh, you know, this will look cool on the desk. But then also at the same time would look good, like if I had it as part of like the background scenery. I mean, you look at some people who make content on either Instagram or TikTok, and they obviously have an aesthetic that is just down pat. Like they have everything's like the antique look. I could think of a few, like Sky Bambi is one of them, and there's a lot of them that I'm just blanking out. Making Memories with Hale, I think her name is too.
Yeah.
But there's a few of them that they just have like such a great desk setup that I'm like, oh man, I wish if I could have that and then just be able to put like my paper and write on it, it would kill, because like I would just have so much of this really nice nostalgic antique looking stuff, and it just has such a great vibe about it that matches with writing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I actually wonder now that we're talking about it, how many people, when you buy stuff, are influenced to buy something because of its utility to share on Instagram, right? So I guess in a way, when you buy a pen, does the urge to kind of show it off push you over the hump and get you to pull the trigger or not?
I kind of feel that that's very much the thing when I see certain limited editions go buck wild, and then all of a sudden you see, after it's shipped, you see people posting on social media, on the, like Reddit or Instagram and things like that, and they just are flooding it because they love it, great, but at the same time I think it's like also a factor of like that they're kind of, you know, showing it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But
I'm good.
I'm good too. But I also like that. I also like that can actually affect a person's like
Thanks, Sophia.
decision to make a purchase.
She's just handed me a brownie.
Oh, cool. What kind of brownie is it? Is it gonna give you like paranoia and like 20 minutes and make you freak out.
Yeah, my 13-year-old daughter just made me a pop brownie, right?
You never know. You never know. But yeah, I'm going to be very honest. I may not buy a lot of stuff when I go.
You're going to be looking for handouts. I know you.
No, I'm actually not. I don't have time.
You're going to be like, so, you see this shirt here?
Don't you know who I am? No, I don't have time, man. I've been so busy. You know I've been busy. I've only called you like 3 times in the week, and that's
it's rare.
That's
my phone's been really silent lately.
Right. When I'm not blowing up your phone, you know that I'm swamped with work. But I think what I'm going there for mostly is to take a couple of my friends to their first fountain pen show. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it can't be a bigger show, but Long Island is good. I like Long Island. I just wish
sometimes the big shows are too overwhelming, though. Yeah. It's going to be busy because it's a Saturday that we're going. Mm-hmm. So if we went to a Saturday of any other show, it would be like you're trying to fit through the narrow, like, you're trying to make your way through crowds of people, but it would probably be more of like a chill atmosphere like a Friday would be, or a Sunday. Like, it's not going to be like a typical Saturday at Pen Show. So they actually get to talk to some of the vendors, some of the people that we know, and meet them.
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to introducing them and helping them make purchases, because I know that they're definitely making purchases. One of my buddies, Jimmy, he's got some course coming up where he's going to have to do a lot of writing, and he was asking about a good quality paper, if there's any paper manufacturers there. I'm like, no, listen, there's not going to be paper manufacturers there. There are plenty of retailers that will be there that will be able to sell you paper and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of options. So I'm looking forward to just walking around and talking about pens and showing them pens and using my experience to help them make purchases that they wouldn't otherwise make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love buying vicariously through other people. I found that too.
That is exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Especially if they're dropping major bucks. I'm just kind of like, yeah, you really should go with that one. You know, like I love being able to help in the decision making without having to have the responsibility of the payment of the decision making.
Right. The Long Island Pen Show is, I don't know if they have good internet or not, but it seems like DC always has a problem. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's like a dead zone.
Yeah. And I always think they got to fucking fix that shit, because I remember there was this one vendor that made a big sale. The guy used a credit card, took the product, thinking he paid, and he left. And then what ended up happening, I think this is kind of what happened. The vendor ended up thinking the guy did it intentionally, called the Virginia troopers, the cops, and wanted to file a report for grand larceny because the guy took all this product and didn't pay. But in reality, the transaction just couldn't go through because of the internet.
It just stalled, because of the internet connection.
And I don't know what's the recourse for that vendor. Does he go after the Marriott? Does he reach out to the guy? I mean, how would he reach out to the guy? I don't know. But it just seemed like if you're gonna have a show in your facility, whatever you are, whether you're a college or whether you're a hotel, just, make it decent with internet so vendors can charge shit. So, I don't know. I always recommend bring cash, because bring cash and leave credit cards at home. And here's my reasoning, and this is probably a very common thought. It's the same thing as gambling. You go to the tables thinking you're only going to lose $1,000. And then when you're done with that 1,000, you stop. You don't keep going. And I think for pen shows, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I think
you want to be able to... Oh, not only that, but, like... Also, too, is that I think a lot of the vendors... And, a lot of them are old school and are willing to dicker over the amount that you're going to spend. And I know you like that word.
I do. I love it. I was just about to make a comment on it before you stole. I'm tired today, and you're stealing a lot of like zingers away from me. You're like I'm behind you by a second.
It's the laggy internet. Sorry.
Yeah, it must be.
But yeah, so cash is king. If they got to run a card, it's going to cost them, somewhere between 3% and 5% to charge that card. Maybe they could take like $10 off of it, or they could take 20, or you know, like they could work with you if they're dealing in cash. Because also too is that when they, let's say, report their, you know, transactions, and they have their transactions listed on their account, if it's electronic, you can't really say, oh, well, I didn't, you know, whatever. But like if they've got cash, they could just kind of be like, oh, I pocket the cash after that sale, whatever. So
yeah, they can, you know, they can commit
tax
fraud.
Yeah.
Right, on a low level. I'm not endorsing that.
It's a pen show. If somebody's there selling their collection personally, they may be more apt to just be like, I will take cash, and if you got cash, I'll knock off something for you. So
right, that's cool. I don't work for the IRS. I don't think anybody else does. And if you do work for the IRS, please hit stop on this episode and then go somewhere else, and or fast forward like 5 minutes and then forget everything we just said in the last couple of minutes. But no, I think that cash is a good idea because it's just going to be simpler. You can haggle a little bit more. If I do buy something, it has to be something unavailable on websites. It has to be something I've never seen before. It has to be unique. And I don't know what that's going to be. But also that wonder and curiosity is also what I'm looking forward to. You know what I mean?
just exploring what's there.
Yeah. I'm also excited about running into friends like guys from Kenro and the Fountain Pen Hospital and Linda Kennedy and Mike Kennedy and catching up.
And people that follow the podcast. Because there's bound to be maybe like one person that's heard of both of us before. So
yeah, and they get a free T-shirt when they come up to us. So, but Tom has to be there.
We might be able to clothe their entire family with T-shirts.
Right. But Tom has to be there. And if you want to take the whole stack to make curtains, go for it. It won't make for very good curtains, though. I'll tell you that much. Right? But I'm really excited about it because I haven't been to a pen show in a very long time. The last one I went to, I think, was the DC show that we went to together. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I may end up making a faux pas. Like, I might forget where I am because I haven't been to one in such a long time.
Yeah. Hey, didn't we go to an unlimited meat, all-you-can-eat
the
meat
Brazilian.
place?
Yeah,
the Brazilian one.
place.
So this time we're going to go to a Korean place. What do you think?
That's like I said, that's awesome. I love Korean barbecue is good with me. So
then bring your appetite and bring your dad because your dad could throw down steak. He almost out-ate me, but did not out-eat me. Do you remember? Yeah.
No, I wasn't counting. So
I'm watching everybody. I'm like, lightweight. Like, whoa, Tom's dad. Holy cow. Let me get 2 more orders over here, please. Oh, he's having 3? Let me get 4 more orders over here, please. Right? So that was a good time. So I'm definitely glad that you're going. Any more things you wanted to talk about? I know you texted me. You wanted to talk about some fountain pen show etiquette. And we've been over this in a different episode, but has anything come up for you?
Well, we were just talking about cash is a good option to go with, limits you in the budget, and also allows you some of that maneuver to negotiate. Mm-hmm. As far as exploring the various tables, one of the things that I will always try to keep in mind is look but not touch. And because like some of these pens like we're thinking of may be vintage, they may be 80 plus years old, you're not sure if they have a screw off cap or a pull off cap. So I would just be on the safe side. And if you see something that's really, really interesting that you're like, ooh, I have to ask first, because like some collectors who are also tabling as vendors may not want you to just touch all of their pens. I know I would be very like nervous about that, especially if they are one of a kind pieces that are not replaceable. So that would be one thing, is just be very mindful about if you want to pick up a pen. I would ask ask questions of the vendor, ask about it, and then, ask to hold it. It's fine. But if they're going to decline that, I wouldn't necessarily get like upset by it, but at the same time be like, like if I was seriously interested, I'd be like, I would really like to, at least hold it, open it up, take a look at the nib, and just see if everything's cool with it. So
yeah, fair enough.
Most people are okay with it, but it just is a matter of like, especially with like the vintage stuff, it's like, especially if you don't know what it is that you're looking at, if you're looking at a Pilot Metropolitan, or you're looking at a Parker Vacuumatic from like the 1940s, like you need to kind of ask a little bit first and then understand what it is that you're going to be picking up, because one vendor might be like, oh yeah, just pick up anything you want to, and then another one's going to be like, oh, whoa, hold on 1 second, that's like $100 or a $200 pen or a $5,000 pen. Like, they're not just going to want like everybody putting their hands all over it and like opening up the nib and then pressing it on the table, or like fiddling around with the filling system, or unscrewing something that's not supposed to be unscrewed, or pulling something that's, there's just so much you could mess up with a pen, and you wouldn't want to see that happen to something that is so dear and precious to you.
Right. You brought up another good point that I wanted to just reiterate and piggyback off of, is the screw cap versus pull cap. Just always assume it's a screw cap and don't yank and pull. Because I remember when I was at the DC Pen Show, where I can't remember what year was it. Was it 21? I don't think it was 21. Was it 21? The DC Pen Show you and I went to?
No.
Yeah, it had to be 21. It certainly wasn't 22. So in 2021, we went to the DC Pen Show, and I bought a piece from Ryan Krusak. It was the Dragon Pen, right? And I noticed later, after I bought it, that the threads on the inside of the cap were just shredded. And it turns out people would just walk up and, like idiots, just and then pull the whole thing apart. It's a screw cap, you fucking asshole. You know? And here's the craziest thing. If you have a screw cap and it doesn't come off, why do you just insist until it just shreds off? Would you do that with anything else in the world? No. So don't do it to an expensive pen. Twist. If it keeps twisting forever, then maybe it's a snap cap. Maybe it's a snap cap. And if you're not sure,
also too, is what may happen is that if you're screwing it and then the barrel comes out and you have no nib or section, that means it's usually a screw cap, because you've just unscrewed the barrel instead of the cap from the pen.
Right. And you could always just ask the vendor. So
hey, that's really the key part. I think that the key part, and the part that I enjoy the most, and I think that you could really get the most out of in your pen show experience, is to communicate and ask questions of all the vendors. Anybody that has anything interesting to you, chat them up. That's what they're there for. That's what, like, most of them are there to really connect with customers, connect with people in a way that you can't do 364 days out of the year, or however many 100%. Days minus the days that you're at pen shows. So it's a great opportunity to connect with people in the pen community. It's a great opportunity to like learn more about pens. So if something interests you, I would just go straight, because it's not like you're shopping around in Staples or Office Max, if Office Max exists anymore. But it's not like you're shopping around at Staples where you're having this person who's working there and they don't really know a Bic from a Waterman. You know, like these people at the show know their stuff. So ask them questions, chat them up, have a full-blown conversation about the first pen that you've ever written with. People love going into those autobiographical stories and talking about pens and where they got them from, and, you know, how they had to smuggle it in their butthole during some sort of, you know, flight where they couldn't take pens aboard the airplane. I don't know. I'm just making up stories. So, yeah.
Did you ever have trouble transporting a fountain pen? So, yeah, never heard that story. Is there something that you want to share with us in terms of transporting fountain pens across state lines?
Well, let's just say that an eyedropper pen, when you have the safety valve engaged, will not leak out of your butthole. Okay.
I expect this kind of talk from you. I'm proud. I'm very proud. I'm proud of you.
But I missed being here last week, so
yeah, you missed a good episode. You really missed a good episode.
Well, you couldn't talk like that the last episode either.
No, I wasn't going to talk about buttholes to Dr. Getch.
I could tell though, just reading her from listening, that I think she would have been down if you wanted to get a little, because she even threw down the hippopotamus comment. I was like, yes, has she been listening to the podcast? Because like we throw down about hippopotami all the time.
Yeah, but hippopotami?
Yeah.
That's not a real word. Is it?
Would you like a brownie?
I think you might want to ask your daughter about what's actually in that brownie. Because
I haven't
you're
eaten
acting a little
anything
odd.
of it yet.
Oh, it might just low blood sugar. Well, you wouldn't experience that so severely if you were on the keto diet, which I know.
I'm getting the contact high from just smelling it. That's what really it is. Like the brownie smell is just intoxicating right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
But going back to communicating with the vendors at a pen show, yes, they're a source of great information, and don't be shy about talking to them, but also be careful. I have had vendors at shows. I can't remember which show. I do remember the vendor, but I'm not going to mention names because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because some vendors will tell you inaccurate information, such as, oh yeah, this is definitely one of our exclusives, and this is a special pen show price. But then I go and look it up and I find out that it's available other places and it's not a special price, right? So internet may suck, but you can always just verify information on your cell phone before you clunk down cash. Now, obviously, if you're dealing with vintage stuff, right, prices may vary. One guy might be selling a vintage 1910 Conklin crescent filler for $185. Another guy might be selling it for $300. The price doesn't always necessarily mean one is better than the other. It just means that they have different standards for pricing stuff, right? So,
well, one may also need some work on it, or may visibly be of less condition than the other, especially when you're talking the old stuff. But you know what would have been nice was to see a list of vendors, a complete list of vendors, or at least somewhat, because it says over 75 vendors, and then they proceed to only put 5 of them or 6 of them on this list, and then not mention who else is going to the show. So,
but do they even say many more?
It says and many more.
Okay, so that kind of covers the rest. But yeah, you're right. It would be nice if there was a big list. Right?
But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, can you imagine if you went to like the new Baskin Robbins, 75 flavors, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and more.
And many more.
It's like, what are the more? You know, I'd like to know. But, you know, I mean, why wouldn't they post that? Why wouldn't they put that information up?
Well, one of the nice things you could do at most other pen shows, like San Francisco or DC, with last year's DC being, you know, one of the more well-organized DC shows, I think, in terms of its marketing and advertising for it, because they, especially San Francisco, they list every single, they even give you a map of where all of the vendors are. So that way you can plan yourself effectively. It's like, oh, I really want to go hit the Franklin Christoph table right away to go buy a prototype. Then I'm going to go bounce over to Mark Bacchus's table because I made an appointment with him to, you know, do a few of my nibs and grind architect nibs or whatever, needle points, you know, so then I could though bounce over to this one, you know, it's like, so you actually can make somewhat of a plan and then budget yourself accordingly to be like, I'm going to do this is going to be like my top wish list of things I want to do. And then whatever else, I'm just going to browse, you know, but you can't do that if you don't know exactly who's going to be there.
Yeah, you also can't plan how much money you should bring too, right? So like, what if you say, hey, I'm only going to bring $300, but you forgot that Franklin Christoph is going to be there. And then you walk by and you're like, shit, they're here? Fuck, I really like their stuff. And then now there's a monkey wrench in your plans. Yeah. Right?
That's it. So, I blew my fountain pen kitty and then that's it. I don't nothing left.
Yeah. I think they should do a better job with that whole website altogether.
Yeah.
It's like I think them and Fountain Pen Hospital need serious work on their website. I really think they do. By the way, they're having a fountain pen event on November 4th. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that like for Fountain Pen Day?
Yeah, Fountain Pen Day. They invited me to come down. Ken Rowe is going to be there. They invited me to come down and you know, do some stuff with them and whatnot. And you know, I love Terry and I love those guys. Do you want to come to that, or is that kind of a conflict? That's kind of a conflict for you, right?
Well, I don't know. Will I be escorted out of the premises?
You know,
it's like seen as the enemy.
Have you seen Fountain Pen Hospital's website? There's nothing about that website that would indicate to you that they have the capacity to Google you and know who you are on YouTube. It's so archaic. I really wish that they would update it because they could do so much more business. I mean, I wish that they did more than they did because they could. They just don't. You know what I mean?
Like yeah, we could hire Neville to redo their website. That would help them. Neville, remember Neville from a few weeks ago?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was. I think that he's not a website guy. He's just a copywriter. So
yeah, but at least it could help with the overall. I mean, yeah, he's not going to go in and code the website for them, but he's going to be able to say it's like, oh well, ideally your page should have some sort of big statement right in the front that says, oh, buy this pen, or like this is amazing, that sort of thing. You could tell I write words all the time.
Yeah, I've noticed that you have been using his recommendations with your newsletter. Mm-hmm. You know how I noticed? Because I don't ignore them as much.
Oh, nice.
And I realize because a lot of times I'll look at my emails and I'll scan the email, and if there's too much, I just won't read it.
Yeah.
So what I've been noticing now is I'm catching the bullets. For some reason, there's something about scrolling through a page and I see bullet points that makes me stop and look at them. And then I pay attention to it. So that's why he makes the big bucks. I like that you
can't argue with that.
Yeah,
so I really took it to, as humbling as it was, I took it to heart, and I was like, you know what, he's making some solid points, and I cannot say that he's wrong. I had to just go with it and then test and just see what the result was, and I also feel the same way too. I think it reads quicker and is more clearer to people to understand right off the bat, this is what this pen's about, these are the benefits of it, this is why I should get it. So
yeah, what's funny is I'm glad that you were able to take that in. I didn't realize until later that I really threw you I put you on the spot with that. I didn't realize that that's putting you on the spot or made you feel like, oh my gosh, And then when he tore it apart, I didn't realize that it was humbling because, you know me in my life, I'm used to people telling me I'm shit all the time. So any criticism I get, it doesn't really humble me ever. However, when it's good criticism, it informs me. And I think maybe that state of being is, in a way, humble. I don't know. But I can see why that... I mean, I have to say this carefully because I don't want to make you sound like a pansy. I can see why that would make you feel kind of bad at the moment, right?
Yeah. At the same time, too, we established that I follow him. I get I take his advice normally when I read his newsletter and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe I could apply this or whatever. And we've also determined in that episode that I basically bum all this information for free while he offers a paid course that I could be participating in, but yet continuing to take his information for free. So then you're like, hey, why don't you rip apart one of his emails and the content that he does, and gives. So it just was on many levels. It really did, like, a more egotistical person would have really gotten defensive about it and be like, oh no, it's like, but I was just like, you know what, all right, I'll play along. I want to do, because not only is it fun for the show because you actually see him in action and he comes alive and he does his thing, but at the same time, it's like, I was like, you know what, this is I do this for a living. I write stuff about pens for a living and do marketing and stuff like that, so I could benefit from this. And despite the fact that it's going to be kind of embarrassing because somebody's going to critique my work, I'm used to it as well. So but just to do it in front of an audience, and then also with you there too, I'm just like, damn it, man.
In truth, I wasn't embarrassed for you either. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, look at that. That's a good idea. Yeah, he could use that. That's how I was thinking, right? It's not like watching an episode of that show where the guy comes in to the restaurant. What's it called? Or
Hell's Kitchen? Or you talk about John Taffer from Bar Rescue.
I think it's Bar Rescue, but he'll literally just be like, you guys are fucking out of your minds. You got to shut this place down. This is disgusting.
Yeah. Shut it down.
Right. It's not like that. I thought the criticism was really, really awesome. And then somebody started posting on Instagram, good on Tom for being able to just stand there and take it in the face, like, and stuff like that. And then that's when I was like, oh shit, was I being really inconsiderate about that? But
no, it's fine. I expect these things from you almost. So you always like find, you know where my comfort zone is, and you push me a little bit outside of it, and I'm fine with that. I like being challenged like that. So
what other times have I pushed you outside of your comfort zone?
No, it's like you like when we do, like, if we do videos together or whatever, I'm not like used to not only just doing videos with other people, because it's usually just me, but like at the same time like acting, you know, and stuff like it's not my wheelhouse. Like you've been you've trained or have taken acting classes in the past before, so like that's not my usual thing.
So you know what I find though? One of the things about training in performing arts, and not necessarily just when it comes to acting, is doing things that, let me rephrase. So listen, we live in a society, we have to behave, right? If I stood outside and I told you to bark like a dog or cluck like a chicken for 30 seconds, you'd be like, dude, get a grip of yourself, right? So I think one of the things that makes an artist able to be an artist is to break down. I have this one eyebrow, that hair that's like all over the place. Is to be able to break down that inhibition of being judged and do crazy things like that. And when I say crazy, I'm talking about things that are like barking like a dog or singing a song in public out of nowhere stuff. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking crazy like skydiving without a parachute or doing crazy stunts that get people killed and stuff. I'm watching on TikTok people doing some stupid shit, and it's made me decide to stop looking at TikTok. Like, a guy is laying down on top of a cooler on a car that's driving really fast with another car perpendicular to the one he's on with the doors open, and he flies straight through it. Right?
Wow.
So the car goes underneath the second car, and the doors are open, so they have to time it just right at the right speed so that he continues. The inertia takes him through the car with the doors open and lands back on the first car. And I was just like, this is the dumbest thing. I'm not going to watch that, right? I'm not going to watch people do crazy shit like that. But if somebody is just walking down the street and suddenly whips out a violin and starts playing, right? I'll watch that, you know?
Yeah.
I'll watch stuff like that. But I think pushing boundaries and doing things you're uncomfortable with safely is, I think, one of the key things to artistic expression. Trying things that break rules. Not laws. I want to be very clear.
Social norms.
Rules.
And social rules, yeah.
Right. So, like, if you've never heard a song that or a band play that combines an electric guitar and a trombone, if you've never heard that before, then fucking try it. The worst that can happen is that it sucks and you don't do it again, which is right where you started. Who cares, right? So that's how I am with it. That's how I am with everything. And I don't know. Not these days. I've been so busy. But yeah, I'm glad that you feel like I push you out of your comfort zone, I guess.
No,
but just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
It's a good thing. Not too much.
I'm not like, hey, Mike Tyson wants to fight a Joe on the street. Tom, get in there, right? I wouldn't do that, right? Because not only are you uncomfortable with that, I'm not comfortable with you being physically disfigured for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, that's awfully considerate of you.
Yeah, I know you're in shape, and I love you, Tom.
I'm not fighting Mike Tyson.
I just don't think you have a chance against Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. I know he's 56 years old, but all he has to do is hit you, and that's the equivalent of being hit by a Mack truck. Mm-hmm. Right? So, I want to make it clear, Tom is not calling out Mike Tyson at this time in the show.
I just want to make it clear, if Mike Tyson is listening, right now you want to email the Pentertainment Podcast, but just make sure you just don't include Tom. Just attention it to me.
No, I'm not challenging Tyson. You're the one challenging Tyson. Why is he going to address it to me? But yeah, did you enjoy the show with Sarah Getch?
I did. There was, I mean, you were right. I was like, the things that I would have wanted to, like, pick her brain about a little bit. I mean, not that the grizzly bear conversation was extremely stimulating, and it was funny because she turned it and was talking about this one interviewer on, was it Channel 4 or something like that, saying like, oh, it was really wild, and would all of a sudden be like, hey, what do you think of amphetamines or whatever,
right?
Like this bright red pill. And it's like that type of person where it just all of a sudden just goes off on a tangent, and I'm just like laughing as I'm listening to that, because I was like, what was the bear conversation about if not a tangent?
Yeah.
And then you brought it up. I was like, yes, finally.
No, she's good people. She's very smart. If you guys haven't listened to episode number 137, I definitely suggest that you go and do that, because hold on, I got a sneeze brewing.
It's about writing and mental health. So
right.
Writing benefiting mental health, and also writing and how it can also benefit learning and studying too. So one of the things I found interesting was she talking about the studies of that handwriting versus using digital stuff or also using the tablet with the stylus pen. Mm-hmm. I wonder, because the human race has grown has grown in the last however long we've been using implements to either carve out into stone tablets, wax tablets, whatever, scribes and things like that. We've put pen to surface to etch out things for at least a couple thousand years, I would say. I mean, but granted, it wasn't as democratized and widely available, because only the more aristocratic class, or the ones that were serving directly underneath the rulers, the ones that weren't your commoners or your peasants and things like that, were able to knew how to write, first of all, knew how to read, and had the implements available, because those were very expensive to have. That they weren't widely available like they are today. But I'm wondering if that somehow evolutionary speaking has taken us and has made us more prone to being receptive to writing by hand, because of the fact that we've been doing it for so long. And if because technology and the keyboard has only been around for the last century, so it's only been around for basically a few generations out of the many that have come before, if at a certain point it will become more natural for the human brain to be wired to use other means besides because right now it seems like the pen is the way to go, but what if over time, with prolonged exposure to technology, that we end up becoming more capable or more proficient at using technology over the pen and paper technique?
That's an interesting question that you actually bring up, because I think it would take thousands and thousands of years, and then it has to be in the absence of writing or any other option, right? So like when we were shaved monkeys, we would write stuff on walls with rocks because we didn't have any other option. That was the best way. So over time, human beings evolved from what we were to what we are now using that method. Now there's a new method, and maybe you're right. Maybe in several thousand years, if technology completely takes over and there is no option other than typing, maybe that will be the only option. The brain will adapt to that. And then when a new option comes out, be it a more advanced version of tongue biting, something else that comes up that's different. It'll take time for our brains to be able to adapt to a new version of writing, recording, and learning and stuff. But
yeah, it's going to be wild, because I think that we haven't with technology. I think we're on just stepping stones to something that's going to be bigger than we've ever imagined. Because I don't think that anybody in the early 20th century knew this is how the 21st century was going to start, with what we have available to us and the level of communication that we're capable of. So, I can't even, it's beyond my capabilities to even think about what it's going to be like in the 22nd century. And you're going to be The way that we communicate will be on a completely different level than what we're even used to right now.
No, not just that. It's a matter of also acceptance. What people accept as a normal thing. Like, before the fountain pen came up, it was just acceptable and normal for every desk to have an inkwell, and for every desk to have a quill. And to carry the inkwell around if you had to was just accepted, right? Like, nobody ever stops to question, hey, why do we have to carry around our beverages? Why can't our beverages just manifestate out of the air when we want it? You know, like, no one questioned, hey, we got to develop a way to get rid of this inconvenience. I think they just accept that's the way it is. They don't accept that it's an inconvenience, so there's no need for the innovation of it, right? Until someone brilliant comes along like Roy Conklin and is like, hey, let's see if we can get rid of all these things. And then it's a convenience that you can't live without, or you don't know you need it until you have it. Kind of like our EarPod Pros, right? Like, I didn't know I needed it until I bought it. Or the Apple Watch. Everybody has an Apple Watch. Nobody needs it until they have it and decide that it makes life so much more convenient that they got to have it. So
I still haven't been convinced by the Apple Watch. I still don't have one.
Right.
But I don't know. You can convince me. Convince me. Tell me I should have one, I guess.
Okay, you should have one. But once you have one, you're going to be like, holy cow, how did I get this far without it? You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's the way I see it. I think that the fountain pen came along, even though there was no great need for a traveling pen. People didn't really realize how useful it would be until after they had it. And then it became a regular part of life. So, yeah, I don't know why we got into this. I forgot why we were talking about that.
We're talking about the evolution of writing.
Oh, yeah. So, like one day we may be like, why do we even have to type anything on anything at all? Why can't we
imagine
just
being able to like jack into people's minds and then be able just to transmit thoughts without any words or verbalization, nothing. Just
Imagine everybody has their own Jarvis in their head. From Iron Man, you know, Tony Stark's always talking to Jarvis, and Jarvis just seems to be in his head all the time. It doesn't matter where he is. Right?
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine the necessity for a computer on your desk becomes obsolete because it'll just be a hologram image that just, like in Iron Man, right? It's not awesome. It's not a need, and there's no perceived inconvenience of having a computer screen on your desk. Everybody just lives with it. But I guess until someone pushes that boundary and pushes themselves out of their comfort zone. Comfort zone. Weird to see how I like to bring it all back. They're not going to.
Circle of life.
Right. It's just the circle of the Pentertainment Podcast. So, But you know what will still be around at that time?
The T-shirts.
Yes. Dweebs like us, the T-shirts, and fountain pens. I think they're not going anywhere. They're too awesome. They're just too awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But speaking of awesome, I want to wrap this up, and I want to thank everybody for joining us for episode number 138 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. I am looking forward to seeing you if you are going to the New York Metropolitan, whatever they want to call it.
The Long Island Pen Show.
The Long Island Pen Show. I am very much looking forward to seeing you guys. Come up to us and say hi. We'll give you a T-shirt and take some selfies and chat and have a good time. I'll introduce you to my friends. Tom, I'm looking forward very much to introducing my friends to you. I think we've gotten past this point in in our relationship where I think I need to introduce you to my friends.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. It's a
big step. I don't put out until I get the introduction to the friends.
So, yeah. Anyway, thanks again for listening. Anything else you want to add, Tom, before we sign off?
Be well, stay safe, and sexy, savage, and inky. Whatever. All of them.
I did steal your line last week.
If you want, here's a brownie.
I think there might be some cannabis in your brownie there, buddy. Anyway, love you guys. Be well. Be safe.
Stay inky.